There are several cities around this country that are really terrible when it comes to Second Amendment laws. Chicago being among one of the worst in the entire country, very, very strict gun laws, but yet has the most violent gun crime. It's funny how that works out. Now, they haven't quite figured that out when citizens can't defend themselves. Obviously, criminals, they're going to have guns. And we're seeing the product of that when you look at a city like Chicago. Well, the DOJ recently arrested a man who went to Indiana to purchase several guns on behalf of Chicago residents. I'm sure this is very, very common that people have to go travel to other states. And the Department of Justice is arresting people like that. And the most recent one, a man went to Indiana to purchase some guns for somebody in Chicago. And why they're doing it, I don't know. I mean, but the bottom line is that I'm sure you wouldn't be running into so many problems like this if Chicago residents could just simply have the firearms that their Second Amendment right deserves them. But this is just a very common practice, and I just kind of want to, as I see these articles, the ATF regularly posts, any sort of arrest that has to do with firearms, and I like to scan that to see what stands out. And there's a significant number, and the thing is it's oftentimes it's not the ATF that's indicting these people. It is the Department of Justice doing it, the federal Department of Justice paying a penalty to Chicago. So the federal government is essentially punishing people in Chicago for city laws that don't affect the federal government in any way, shape, or form. And that's the part that really, I don't know, I think it just needs to be talked about. That these people that live in these very strict cities are clearly going out and getting guns somewhere because they fear for their life. And they're kind of like, well, I have the right to do it. And now they're having consequences of it. And you take a city, and it really depends on which city you're in too, because so for example, Pennsylvania is a very, very free Second Amendment state. But you get into cities like Philadelphia, and all of a sudden you're having all sorts of problems. And somebody that lives in like the suburbs of Philadelphia goes into Philadelphia, they're law-abiding citizens over there, and they're felons over there, and it doesn't make any sense. So I just want to kind of talk about this because as you see the Department of Justice indicting people for going out of state and buying firearms and bringing them back to cities that deem them illegal, I think we just really need to kind of talk about how law-abiding citizens are clearly being punished and charged and probably put in prison to some degree. Because I guarantee you what you'll see in places like Philadelphia and Chicago is you'll see an inner city element of law-abiding citizens who are constantly being deemed to be felons because they're just trying to enact their Second Amendment rights. And a lot of them unknowingly doing it as well, because as you go from that county to that county, the laws vary. And the fact that the Department of Justice is getting involved is even worse. It's just worse. So any thoughts or insight in that, definitely put that in the comments below. Just want to talk about it. So please, any thoughts or insight, put that below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel with Patreon. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.